Here in Chiefs Kingdom, let me start with a question that honestly feels uncomfortable to even say out loud. When was the last time the Kansas City Chiefs watched the playoffs from the couch? Exactly. Most fans under 30 barely remember what that feels like. And yet, that's where we found ourselves after the 2025 season. Not just short of Super Bowl, not just bounced early, but completely outside the postseason picture for the first time in over a decade. A 6-11 record. No division title. No January football at Arrowhead. Silence where there's usually noise. As someone who lives and breathes Chiefs football, I'm not here to sugarcoat that. I'm also not here to panic, because context matters, history matters, and perspective matters, especially when you're evaluating a dynasty that's earned the benefit of the doubt. The AFC West flipped on its head this year. 7 straight division titles, 5 Super Bowl appearances, 3 Lombardi trophies since 2019. All of that didn't disappear overnight. But the league finally saw something it hadn't seen since 2015. The Chiefs looked human, vulnerable, and at times poorly constructed. And that's where this conversation gets real. Let's start with Denver, because whether Chiefs fans like it or not, the Broncos earned their moment. From my perspective, this was one of the most surprising and efficient seasons any team in the league had. 14 wins, the #1 seed, a trip to the AFC Championship game. And they did it with a second-year quarterback in Bo Nix. What Chiefs fans need to understand is this. Denver didn't dominate because they were flashy. They dominated because they were disciplined, opportunistic, and ruthless in close games. 11 one-score wins is not an accident, but it's also not fully sustainable. History tells us that record almost always regresses. Ask the 2022 Vikings. Ask the 2021 Raiders. Still, Sean Payton deserves credit. That roster played with clarity. The offensive structure protected Knicks. The defense closed games. And beating Josh Allen in the playoffs is something only one franchise has consistently done in the Mahomes era. And now Denver can say they did it too. Does that mean the Broncos are the new kings of the AFC West? In my view, no. But it does mean the division is no longer on cruise control for Kansas City. The margin is thinner. The mistakes matter more. Now let's talk about the Chargers, because this is the most Chargers season imaginable. Injuries everywhere, especially up front. 3rd and 4th string tackles trying to block elite pass rushers. And yet, they still found a way to go 11-6. Justin Herbert is one of the most physically gifted quarterbacks in football. That's not debatable. But what is debatable, and what continues to haunt him, is postseason execution. 16 points allowed, 3 points scored, another early exit, another quiet January. From my perspective, the Chargers are stuck in between identities. They're talented, but not tough. Creative, but not consistent. Hiring Mike McDaniel as offensive coordinator is fascinating, because if there's anyone who can unlock Herbert's processing speed and rhythm, it's him. But losing Jesse Minter on defense, that's not nothing. That side of the ball carried them more than people want to admit. Now, let's get uncomfortable. Let's talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. This season was a failure. Full stop. And I don't say that lightly. This is a franchise that measures success in Lombardis, not wild card banners. When Patrick Mahomes is your quarterback, the standard is different. It has to be. The most alarming part wasn't the record. It wasn't even missing the playoffs. It was how predictable the collapse felt. Warning signs were ignored. Depth was assumed. And once again, the organization leaned on Mahomes to be superhuman. And he paid for it. Mahomes took hit after hit behind a leaky offensive line. He extended plays because that's who he is. Creative, defiant, fearless. But even legends have limits. A season-ending ACL tear in Week 15 is not just bad luck. It's a consequence of roster neglect. As someone who's watched Mahomes evolve from backyard magician to surgical assassin, this season hurt to watch. His decision-making wasn't reckless. It was desperate. And that tells you everything about where this team was. Travis Kelce, still one of the smartest football players to ever wear red and gold, showed flashes of brilliance. His chemistry with Mahomes didn't vanish. But age is real. Wear and tear is real. and the offense asked too much of him for too long. Chris Jones continued to be the heartbeat of the defense, collapsing pockets, forcing hurried throws, changing games without always showing up in the box score. Isaiah Pacheco ran like every carry was personal, setting the tone the only way he knows how, violently. But football is the ultimate team sport, and the Chiefs didn't have enough answers around their stars. Now here's where perspective matters. This franchise was built long before Mahomes. Len Dawson laid the foundation. Derek Thomas defined defensive dominance. Tony Gonzalez redefined what a tight end could be. Andy Reid turned Kansas City into the gold standard of modern football. One bad season does not erase that. What it does do is force a reckoning. The cap situation is tight. The draft capital is limited. Mahomes' health is a question that defines the entire offseason. But pressure has never scared this organization. Brett Veach has rebuilt before. Andy Reid has adapted before. And Chiefs Kingdom has endured before. Finally, the Raiders. And honestly, this was a masterclass in how not to build a franchise. Coaching confusion, quarterback desperation, long-term money tied to short-term thinking. Ending with the number 1 pick might be the only clean slate they have. From my view, the AFC West is no longer a one-team division. It's competitive, it's volatile, and it's dangerous. But make no mistake, Arrowhead is still Arrowhead. The Red Sea will still roar. The Tomahawk Chop will still echo. And when Patrick Mahomes steps back onto that field, healthy, focused, and motivated, this story isn't over. Not even close. This is Chiefs football. This is Chiefs culture. This is Chiefs Kingdom. Stay locked in, stay loud, and stay ready.